Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Thanks for being here. Coach Mike is also here, and he has yet to buy a new camera stand for the one that he broke. The subject today we're going to be talking about is mat etiquette and like things that are just kind of maybe unspoken rules, like things that people might find like irritating, that especially new people might not realize are annoying. Because I know that when I first started, I definitely did a bunch of stuff that I would never do now and would probably be embarrassed that I did before.
Yeah, it's like you're just like, oh man, I hope no one remembers that I did that. Like,
yeah,
type of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first thing was this does not usually apply to like upper belts like helping much lower belts. You know, like say for example, like a brown belt helping a white belt. This is not this situation. This is like if say two blue belts are rolling. When one person gets the other person close to the submission, and then the person in the submission starts to coach the other person through the submission, which is completely. If you're just rolling, it's kind of rude. I think it's not giving the other person credit to figure something out on their own. And it's just if you're trying to put someone in a submission, and especially if you don't quite know where it is and you're trying to find it, having someone else just like start telling you doesn't help. You know, it's like it's just annoying.
Yeah, it ruins the flow and it ruins your education process.
Absolutely.
After the roll is something different, right? If you think that you have something of value to add after the roll, you can be like, yo, bro, whenever we were in that like arm lock position I was defending, there was an opening here you might not have realized. But don't take that opportunity away from them in the roll.
Right. And so asterisk here, talking shit does not count. Obviously, if you got someone near submission, feel free to try to throw them off by talking a little bit of shit, especially if you're friends. So
yeah, absolutely
different.
Yeah, that's completely not even in the same lane.
Right. Other things that I thought you might have.
Yeah, so like some things is like in like maybe like a busy open mat. Which can sometimes be hard if you aren't aware. Like maybe if you are newer, maybe you don't know everybody. But pretty much in that sense, if you're newer, then you're probably the lower belt, but yielding to higher belts. And what we mean by that is like everybody's rolling in their space, but our spaces like they touch each other, right? So if you are rolling over there and I'm rolling over here, this like middle ground, it's like really no one's area. Right? Like if me and my partner roll all the way into your partner's space, then no matter what our belt levels are, we should concede and go back to our space. But when two groups happen to like converge in a neutral area, you yield to the senior belt, right? So like if I'm rolling and a blue belt rolls over into that area there, they are to yield and let my roll continue. And the theory on that is like, eventually you're going to be the upper belt, right? And you put in the time, you put in, the sacrifices or whatever it may have been. And like, so those are like some of the rewards you reap as a higher belt. But with that being said, I will take notice to like the situation that happens as well. So like, it's going to be very rare that I'm in a neutral area and another group, we meet in a neutral area, and it is courtesy for me to move, being the black belt, right? But I will assess the situation, like when we're there, and like you have to do this in a split second, which oddly enough happens. It's easier to do than this may seem. But I assess, I go, hey, who's rolling next to me? Are one of them getting ready for a competition? How important is the roll I'm doing right now? Like, am I really getting after it right now, or am I kind of like flowing through something? In which it would make more sense for me to move, even though I'm the higher belt. Also, if this group is like in like submission, right, then I'll yield to them. But generally speaking, you should yield to the higher belt. It's just a matter of respect, and it's not even like kind of like douchey hierarchy thing. It's just like it's just like a right, like you earn it, right? You earn that space and stuff through like the years that you've put in and the rank that you've acquired, and that this person, if they stick with it and stuff, that's going to be their role at one point in time as well.
I like what you said just now about like at being the higher belt, you probably have a better idea of both what's happening in both roles, hopefully.
Yeah.
And so like you might have a particular thing you're trying to accomplish with the person you're rolling with. So it's like maybe you ask them what they were trying to work on, and you're working on that like during this role, and these people are just like fucking around.
Right. Yeah.
Then it's like, okay, get out of the way, guys. But like like you said, if the person's about to compete, it's like, okay, we're just
like I'll yield to like some like like if you and Christian were like getting after it or whatever, and I'm rolling with somebody, like I'll yield, like by law, you should yield to me, but like if you guys are scrapping and I'm like kind of like just like getting a decent roll in, like like hey, with the scrap is scrap, type of thing. But again, like that comes with experience, the ability to like kind of like dictate that in a second's notice, and it's probably due to like the higher belt is probably more comfortable in their role, more like. At the lower belts, I would assume that in your role you are dead focused on that, and like you could completely lose everything that's around you, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas pretty much at all times, like in the middle of a really hard go, I also know what you guys are doing and what you guys are doing. Like just like you have that awareness, right? Where like like I just like hit a guard pass and it like my glance went that way, and like I completely registered everything that was happening there in that split second by the time I turned back in. And things like that. But yeah, that's just like that's a big one for me. And the reason that's a big one for me is just safety. One of the most irritating things is when people run into each other, because those can cause injuries that are just so easily preventable. And no matter what reason you're training, like being aware of what's going on around you is part of that reason, right? If you want to be a jiu-jitsu competitor, you got to be aware of the boundaries. If you want to be an MMA fighter, you got to be aware of like things around you, like the cage, and some things people don't notice, like the sponsorship logos on the canvas can sometimes be a little slick, so like you kind of want to be aware of that too. So like being aware of your surroundings, and if you're here for like more of a self-defense purpose, like more than anything you got to be aware of your surroundings. So it's a great time to practice that skill, under stress and duress, and it has the benefit of keeping you and your training partners safe. Like getting kicked in the head by the group next to you sucks. I actually had torn my knee from a grip running into the side of my knee in the past, so I'm just really like irritated by that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there's no excuse for careless training. Your partner's safety is your responsibility. We don't want to break the toys we have to play with. It doesn't make any sense. We can't train if we do that. So one more thing that I wanted to talk about on this like kind of things that you might not realize, especially if you're newer, you probably want to bring in, and I'm not, every gym is different, but like especially here, and I think a lot of gyms are like this, you want to have some kind of like shoes, like maybe slip-on flip-flops to like go back and forth when you're coming off the mats, just so you don't track whatever is not on the mats onto the mats, and then we get it all over us and we get gross stuff happening. Yeah, and like if you like didn't know that when you came in, like no one's going to give you a hard time. We're probably not even going to tell you, hey, like bring a pair of flip-flops, but you're going to see 100 flip-flops lined up along the side of the mat. So like we'll assume like you'll get it and stuff like that. And if you like forgot them one day, like you're going to be all right. But like it definitely helps keep it a more cleanly environment, and that's better for everybody. Number one, it's not gross. Number two, like just any type of like common like like skin infections that do come with this sport, we can kind of minimize that as much as possible. Mm-hmm. And additionally, like just like cleanliness in your locker room or whatever, pick your stuff up. Like there's how many times do you see like just random stuff just like scattered about the locker room? I just all the time, and like I don't want to put it in the lost and found either. I want to be like penalty, thrown away. Like you know what I mean? And dude, like underwear though, like automatic thrown away. Because like first off, if I forget my underwear, I'm not gonna come get them. Like if they're in the lost and found, I'm gonna be like, yep, those are someone else. Those are definitely mine. My name's written on them. Somebody else is down, dude. Like so pick your stuff up, take care of the locker room. Also make sure your nails and toenails and stuff are like nice and short, so you don't tear up. I know I get in the shower sometimes afterwards. Thousands of tiny cuts. I think that's a pretty comprehensive. If we think of anything more, we can make another video. This actually brought up an idea of a video. So a lot of people have like their gym bag, or like maybe even a special like pack that they bring to training. Maybe we should like bring our packs on, like what's in your bag. Oh, I like that. Because like I think you guys would find like I carry a fanny. There's a fanny pack on the mat with me, right? And I think some people might be interested to see what's in it. Yeah, what's our gear like? Yeah. What's our loadout? Yes. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, so check out. Stay tuned for the loadout video. That's about it for this one. Thanks for stopping by. Make sure to do all the liking and subscribing. Subscribing. I can say words. Thanks for Coach Mike to be here. And you want to say? Yeah. Come down and train. Yeah, where I was like, oh, you fuck. Yeah, and it took me a second to figure out, like, I was like, what was that from again? And then it was whenever you set me up for the come down and train, and I was just like,
It's so people are gonna have to go and they're gonna have to watch the other video to understand the context of it.
Yeah.
It's only for the diehard fans.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. Welcome back.